To begin, we need to separate the upper portion of the IBC tote from the bottom portion. By doing this, we create the grow bed from the upper portion of the IBC tote and the fish tank from the lower portion. If we look at the tote, we can see that it is roughly divided into fifths by the structural ribs of the support cage. The upper portion of the tank that is to be used as the grow bed needs to be 12 inches deep. Using a carpenter's framing square, we mark the metal frame and then mark the plastic tank to create a cut line. Once we have made our cut marks, we need to remove the top supports and slide the plastic tank from inside the cage. Cut the metal stubs from the lower portion of the tank and discard them. The narrow strip of plastic that was trimmed from the bottom portion of the tank should be discarded as well. Set the bottom portion upright and return the bottom portion of the plastic tank into the frame. Replace the crossmember supports to the top portion of the tank frame. Return the plastic liner to the frame. Place the grow bed portion across the fish tank portion with the long dimension of the grow bed across the short dimension of the fish tank. It's important that you clean the cut edge of the plastic tank liners using sandpaper, a utility knife, or a small file. It may be easier to lay the tank back on its side and slide the plastic tank a few inches out of the cage to allow free access to the tank. Carefully remove any burrs and saw debris from the edge of the tank. The object here is to leave a smooth, rounded edge along the entire top edge of the tank liners. Now clean and rinse the tank. We want to remove as much of the plastic debris from the cutting as possible. At this time, it's also good to check the valve on the drain at the bottom of the tank to make sure it's in good working order. If it leaks, either repair the valve or seal it shut with a new bulkhead fitting or a new valve assembly. Before we proceed any further, we need to look at the bell siphon that came with your kit. The bell siphon is constructed from standard, off-the-shelf PVC parts that can be easily reproduced by anyone with some rudimentary skills with hand tools. Your manual includes specific instructions and drawings on creating a bell siphon from scratch. This is the bell siphon kit, and it comes with a bulkhead fitting, a media guard, the standpipe for the bell siphon, and the actual bell for the bell siphon, and then a down drain that goes underneath the grow bed tank. The bulkhead fitting comes with the bulkhead washer. This is the bulkhead washer nut gasket, and this is the bulkhead washer nut. The drain opening should be located to the front of the grow bed towards the fish tank, about 8 inches from the inside edge of the grow bed. The opening for the bulkhead fitting should be cut using the appropriate sized hole saw based on the recommendations of the bulkhead fitting manufacturer. These may vary, so read the instructions that come with the bulkhead fitting. Once you have the hole cut, clean the cut edges of the opening as you did with the cut edge of the tank. Take care not to gouge or otherwise enlarge the opening. This is important to ensure the seals on the bulkhead fitting have a clean, smooth surface against which to seal. Place the bulkhead gasket on the threaded portion of the bulkhead fitting and insert the fitting into the drain opening from the inside of the grow bed. Place the nut seal on the bulkhead fitting, followed by the bulkhead nut, and screw down hand tight. Use an appropriately sized wrench to tighten the bulkhead nut until the bulkhead washer begins to compress slightly. Apply a single layer of Teflon tape to the threads of the PVC fitting on the standpipe and thread the fitting into the top of the bulkhead. Screw the fitting down hand tight, then tighten further 1/4 turn with an appropriately sized wrench. Do the same with the second PVC fitting and thread it into the bottom side of the bulkhead fitting. Now fit the drain tube, the PVC pipe with a 90-degree fitting attached, into the bottom of the bulkhead fitting. The installation of the bulkhead fitting and the standpipe portion of the bell siphon is complete. Now it's time to install the heart of the system, the water pump, and do some final testings. We typically use this pump. Unfortunately, none of the parts in the accessory pack will work for connecting the tubing we use. We substitute a 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch PVC threaded fitting, a short length of 1/2 inch PVC tubing, and 1/2 inch plastic drip system supply tubing. All of these fittings and tubing are available at your local big box home supply store. The assembly is very straightforward. Glue the 1/2 inch PVC tubing into the slip fitting end of the 1/2 inch by 3/4 inch adapter. Glue the drip system adapter to the other end of the pipe. When the PVC cement has set properly, thread the PVC fitting into the pump and hand tighten. Once that assembly is in place, you can insert the drip system supply tubing into the compression fitting. Push it in firmly until it seats to the bottom of the fitting. You are now ready to set the supply line into position. With the pump resting in the bottom of the tank, position the supply line so that it runs along the top rail of the grow bed about midway down one side. We want to position the outlet as far from the bell siphon as possible to ensure good water flow throughout the grow bed. Using a second compression to PVC slip fitting, we construct the delivery nozzle for our system. We're using a 1/2 inch PVC ball valve and several short lengths of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Once the valve and tubing are connected, place the valve on the side rail of the grow bed and secure it using cable ties. This completes the actual construction of the aquaponics system. It's now time to test the entire system. Fill the fish tank about half full with water and plug in the pump. We suggest that you have a GFCI in the circuit where you are using your aquaponics system for your safety. Place the bell over the siphon standpipe. Once the pump is plugged in, the water should begin to flow into the grow bed. When the water reaches the top of the standpipe, it should begin to overflow back into the fish tank. In a few seconds, you should see a sudden increase in the flow rate as the siphon action begins. When the water level reaches the bottom of the bell, the siphon should begin to capture air and will make a bubbling, gurgling sound. At some point, the siphon should break and the grow bed will start to fill again. If there is a problem getting the siphon to start or stop, consult your class materials for instructions on troubleshooting and adjusting your bell siphon. While the system is operating, watch the level of the water in the grow bed. Use a permanent marker to mark the high water level in the inside edge of the grow bed just when the siphon starts to operate. You will need to add grow media to a level about 1 inch above this mark.